Well, breaking news from the NFL where the New England Patriots have hired Jerod Mayo as their new head coach. That's the latest from our lead NFL insider, Jonathan Jones. Mayo played his entire 8-year career with the Patriots and has been their inside linebackers coach since 2019. He now replaces Bill Belichick, who parted ways with the club on Thursday after 24 seasons and 6 Super Bowl titles. So just one of the many coaching vacancies is now officially filled. You see there at the top, no more Bill Belichick in New England. It is now the Jerod Mayo era. But a lot of coaching opportunities still available. I'm sure we'll dive into those as the week goes on. But let's focus on New England for the time being as we bring in Jonathan Jones to talk about this. And Jonathan, we heard from Robert Kraft and Bill Belichick literally yesterday. They said they wanted to move pretty quickly. I wasn't expecting it to be this close. Just your thoughts on this hiring and what you could expect out of Jerod Mayo as the new head coach of the Patriots.
Yeah, so Robert Kraft, he wanted to keep yesterday about Bill Belichick. And so when he was asked about who he wants the next head coach to be, he said somebody who can get us into the playoffs. Well, he picks Jerod Mayo, someone that he has known for some time, obviously, as you note, Haley, as a player and then as a coach, one of a fantastic linebacker, defensive rookie of the year, and then he was a first-team All-Pro in 2010, has been with this organization for so long. And here's the interesting part. When he got his contract extension last year, he had it written into his deal that he would be the successor in New England. Now, you can write that into an assistant coach's deal. I looked up the league rules last night, and it says the contract may include an agreement to become the club's next head coach, provided that agreement is filed with the league office at the time it's signed and occurs prior to the season. So that took place in the offseason. It was very quiet. It was between Jerod Mayo and the league office, and certainly at the top tier of the New England Patriots organization. But Jerod Mayo has been showing up every day to work this past week. In fact, sometimes when a lot of the other assistants haven't been around because they have all known that Jerod Mayo was going to be the guy. And so you can do this in the NFL, and Robert Kraft had Bill Belichick have his day on Thursday in New England. But I believe that sort of clause in the contract sort of automatically triggered, and so you could say that he was almost immediately the head coach, but they wanted Bill to have his day, a very well-deserved day after 24 years, and now on Friday they move forward with Jerod Mayo. Yeah, Belichick just talking about how grateful he was yesterday. It was really refreshing to see a more upbeat Belichick on that day. Let's talk about Jerod Mayo, though, and what the task is ahead of him. We know he's very much the defensive-minded guy, but the offense for this Patriots team, Jonathan, really has struggled over the last season, this one in particular. What's the biggest challenge for Mayo in attacking the offense? Are they going to stick with Mac Jones? A lot of those offensive questions kind of on the forefront for him. Yeah, it's certainly something that he's been able to consider privately for some time, right? Knowing that he was very likely going to be the next guy in New England unless something went awry. So I certainly don't know what his thought process is right now, but number one on the list has to be getting a quarterback, and he's going to have to work in conjunction with a general manager in New England to find that quarterback. And let's be clear, the Patriots will have to conduct a general manager search. I checked with the league office on that. Bill Belichick was the primary football executive with the team. Now that he has vacated that position, there has to be a search for that. I don't believe you can write into someone's contract once they leave he can become the primary football executive. So that is likely to take place, and I would imagine that someone with New England ties would be strongly considered for that position. So once Jerod Mayo and that general manager, or whatever the title is of primary football executive, becomes, once they determine who the next quarterback should be, and that will likely be in free agency, because we all know, and Mac Jones knows, and Bailey Zappi knows, that they're not moving forward with them as the starting quarterback week 1 of the 2024 season, then you can begin to figure out what else you're going to do. You're going to find an offensive coordinator, but here's the thing, Haley. I've been talking with a lot of coaching agents out there the past week. There aren't that many out there who are going to be able to be head coaches. There's been such an incredible churn at offensive coordinator over the past couple of years, so much so that more than half of the league's offensive coordinators, they've only been in that position for a year or so. So many of them don't even call plays. Jerod Mayo, of course, is going to have to find someone who will call plays. So this will be a fascinating hire for the New England Patriots. But again, Mayo is someone who certainly has been considering this. And so we're all going to wonder who the next Patriots quarterback could be, whether it's going to be in free agency or whether they're going to wait until they pick at the number 3 position in the 2024 draft, where they could get someone like Drake May or Jaden Daniels, whether they want to trade up maybe with a Chicago or a Washington, if either of those teams would be willing to, so they could go up and get a quarterback higher up on their list. But right now, the key for Jerod Mayo is figuring out who he's going to be working with at the general manager level and who they're going to be bringing in to fill out his staff in New England.
So we got the head coach, but we're still missing a GM, as you just talked about. We're still missing a quarterback in New England. Is this going to be a total rebuild for this Patriots team that we have long seen be in the spotlight at the top of the NFL?
Well, Haley, that's a great question, and obviously they've missed a lot in the draft lately, and I think a lot of that has to do with Bill Belichick, the personnel boss. I think everyone who has watched New England football the last 4 years understands that. So I don't know if it's necessarily going to be a rebuild in 2024. You know, they have some really solid pieces on defense. They're going to get back Christian Gonzalez, who would be competing for Defensive Rookie of the Year had he not gotten injured so early in the season. They're going to have to figure out some things on the offensive side, though, of course, they're certainly going to have to add some receivers. There is no question about that whatsoever. And we see sitting right there at number 2, Marvin Harrison Jr. Hey, if you go out and get your quarterback in free agency, that number 3 pick could be used to get a guy who can be the next Jamar Chase, who can be the next Justin Jefferson, maybe even better, someone that the Patriots have not had in so many years. So a lot of optionality for the Patriots here. So a lot of questions that certainly they have to have answered, but Jerod Mayo has been preparing himself, has been prepared, has been groomed there to be at this position with this team for some time. So he should be able to take on the incredible challenge of following the GOAT. You know, in all sports, no one really wants to ever follow the GOAT, but someone like a former player, like Jerod Mayo, who was elite at his position, they will take on, they will accept that challenge because, hey, why can't I be the next GOAT? That has to be the mindset that I believe Jerod Mayo has in New England.
So we talk about the future of the Patriots. Let's talk kind of about the future of Bill Belichick. And many people were chit-chatting about Vrabel being the next head coach with the Patriots after he was relieved from the Tennessee Titans. What clarity can you give us just on Bill Belichick's new endeavors, as well as what Vrabel is going to be up to in the next few weeks?
You know, it's funny. Less than an hour ago, I got a text from someone in Tennessee who asked, hey, is it going to be New England or bust for Mike Vrabel? Look, because they're still obviously interested in where Vrabel could end up. You know, I don't think it's New England or bust. I think that Mike Vrabel is going to be a well-sought-after coach. Obviously, Bill Belichick is going to be a well-sought-after coach, but where exactly do they fit? And so that's where you have to consider the Seattle Seahawks. We have not heard of them put in a request for anyone just yet, but Dan Quinn, obviously the leading candidate there. The Titans, Bill Belichick's not going there, and Mike Vrabel, of course, is not going back. The Patriots now filled. The Falcons, that's something we've been talking about the last couple of days. Arthur Blank quite interested in Bill Belichick, maybe not the rest of the building, but the Falcons, who just fired Arthur Smith, a friend of Mike Vrabel, highly doubt Mike Vrabel's going to be going to Atlanta. The Washington Commanders, who very well could be filling their president of football operations position maybe as early as today, well, they're not going to hire Bill Belichick. I have reported and reaffirmed again that the Commanders are not in pursuit of Bill Belichick, but Mike Vrabel be someone that the next president of football operations is interested in? Perhaps. The LA Chargers has been a place that folks have tried to place Bill Belichick because of Justin Herbert, but not because of the salary that they may give him. I will say this about the Chargers. They are percentage-wise interviewing more defensive coaches in their search than any other team so far. And then lastly, the Carolina Panthers and the Las Vegas Raiders. The Raiders are really, really interesting because though they were the first team to have a coaching vacancy, they have not yet put in a request slip for any coach out there. It's just interesting. So just keep an eye on that. We all have to talk about Jim Harbaugh and where he could end up, and maybe that'll be the Raiders or maybe that will be the Chargers. But Belichick and Vrabel, though they will be highly sought after, it will be just a few places. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this shakes out now that we have 7 coaching vacancies in the NFL.
JJ, I am so glad that we have you to help us navigate this crazy, crazy time in the coaching world. We appreciate you hopping on with us early this morning on HQ to give us some clarity about the new Patriots head coach.